On today's episode, I'll be ranking all of the deadly assault bosses that we've had so far in the game. I included the Wandering Hunter just because we all know that sooner or later this guy's going to be added as a boss. We're going to have to face him in deadly assault, so I was like, let me just jump the gun and add him to this list. My list isn't anything fancy, and also just a personal disclaimer, all of the ratings here are based on my opinion and my opinion alone. Feel free to disagree in the comments. If anything, I look forward to engaging with you guys to figure out what you guys consider to be the best deadly assault enemy that we've gotten so far. But anyways, let's get straight into it. Hopefully you enjoy this video. Let's go. So first off, we have the Wandering Hunter. So Wandering Hunter is the latest boss as of version 2. What version are we on? 2.4? I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, but this is the latest boss that they added to the game. And if I'm being honest, this boss was a big miss in terms of what they could have done to make this boss so much fun. Right? In the fighting itself is nothing special. Like the likes of Typhon, even Maz McFiend have better combat than this person. Even like Corruption Complex has a better fighting in my opinion. But my main gripe with this enemy is the main mechanic that you use in order to defeat this boss. We all know that whenever they introduce a boss now, there's always going to be a gimmick with whatever boss. Like, if you don't do this thing, then it'll be so difficult for you to beat this boss. That kind of stuff. And really, with this one, I really was disappointed in the execution. I mean, just look at this. Right, you have to play hide and seek basically. You already see the thing that you need to hit, right? That's my thing. It's that one. And then you just have to parry. That's it. Nothing else. There isn't any challenge in doing that. And as you saw, it's like I took my sweet time to try and find that. There doesn't seem to be a consequence to you not like taking your sweet time. I mean, granted, I'm not really complaining about the time that it gives you. I mean, my main gripe is that it's such a boring mechanic, right? Like, you beat the guy, he reaches a certain whatever threshold, I don't know what that threshold is, and then he just turns into like 3 copies. I mean, they could have made it a smidge more exciting by adding maybe more copies, right? Or maybe you having to do that maybe more than once. Like, you cycle through that, like you look for the clone or whatever, and then when you find it, you parry, and then he immediately turns back into it again, and then you have to do it like maybe 3 times before you can actually continue with the battle again. Maybe that's overkill, but I feel like what they did right now is so bad that that kind of overkill would have made things so much better. So this really makes me want to put Wandering Hunter at the lower tiers of this. It really makes me want to put Wandering Hunter like C or D tier. I'm sticking with D tier actually. Maybe we'll move up as we go through the list, but for now, that's D tier. The mechanic is just bad. It's just like a normal enemy fight with a weird mechanic that's so simple to work with that basically any person can do it. And yes, the fact that it's not kept behind any specific kind of character is amazing, but its simplicity makes it such a bad thing. It's like, compared to other characters that we'll go through in this list, it feels like there was not too much thought put into the mechanic that you have to work with in order to make the fight. But that's just my opinion. Let's move on to the next one. So next on our list is the Miasma Priest. Now, Miasma Priest. This is one of the few bosses that I actually like in ZZZ, right? Now, like I said, this isn't a ranking based on design or anything like that. It's just based on how fun they are, to me specifically. Right. So with this boss, the mechanic on how you have to defeat the boss, to me it was so well thought out. The way the boss just fights was kind of well thought out as well. I mean, this man can parry your attacks. It's I wouldn't say that it's like a new thing to parry attacks, but we don't have enough of that to say that it's that common. And so that's a nice thing to have a boss. It makes it more, I wouldn't say more challenging. It is challenging, but not significantly challenging. And you can still like get by with that. And then look at that cool design. Then we have the mechanic, like all that parrying. Right? Believe me, it never gets old for me. And then it makes the whole interaction so fun. It makes it engaging. It's not like, yes, I mean, you missing it is not the end of the world, but you missing it makes you miss out on the best part of the fight, in my opinion. Like, yes, without that, you can still do just fine. And I know some of you will complain that it has this weird miasmic state where it just vanishes on you. But believe me, it's not that difficult to get a hang of it. It basically just executes all of those things, the steps, in the same order that he executes them when he's not in this state, I guess. His attack patterns don't change at all. It still is the same boss, just now instead of warning you every time he's doing a move, he just executes all of his moves in one go. But I'm straying a lot here. Main thing is this. This is one of the few bosses that I extremely love. The main reason why I love them is because of the mechanic, the parry mechanic. It gives you, I feel like if you went through and played this boss over and over again, it would eventually teach you how to parry, how to get used to parrying in quick succession. So I thought that mechanic makes you engage with the boss, and that for me makes it that much fun. So I'm very keen on putting this boss in ST. Absolutely, I'm happy with S here. And if you consider the mechanic, it seems to be very well thought out. The fighting patterns seems to be well thought out. Yes, it's repetition, but that's how every boss is. Every boss is a pattern. You have to learn the mechanics and all that. You can't be complaining about that. And then moving on to the next boss, Bringer. Now, I have a very, very bad love-hate relationship with that man. Actually, love-hate is not the word I'd use, just a hate-hate relationship. But it's just a personal gripe that I have with him. Bringer, I would say, is the equivalent of Miasma Priest in Deadly Assault in version 2 of ZZZ. And by that time, believe me, I did not have good enough teams to deal with that man. I only had Miyabi as a DPS, for example. It was bad. Now, what I hated was the fact that they used to repeat him a lot in Deadly Assault, and it was very difficult for me to get 3 stars against that person in Deadly Assault. Because apparently his anomaly bar was just so difficult to fill up. And we all know that if you missed that window to trigger like a freeze, or to remove him from that, I don't even know what that state is, where he just stands on top of a hand, and then just does this enchantment, whatever, and then he proceeds to nuke the entire arena. So I really hated that, like so much so that I wouldn't even mind just not doing it right now and just giving him like a solid B. Now, moving on to the next one, Pompey. I would say more or less the same story as Bringer. He, unlike Bringer, still is sometimes in Deadly Assault rotations. I think most people would know him from Deadly Assault. And so if I put Bringer at a B, then I'd have to put Pompey at like steady A. Now, the version that I'm currently fighting, maybe this one deserves a solid B still. But the Deadly Assault one, oh my god, that one really deserves like an A. Not even like a very skeptical A, like a clear, outstanding A. Because who the fuck decided that we should make this man parry or attacks? Like, that was a feature that I wasn't expecting to see. Well, so early in the game, that is. The execution is amazing. Like, he's aggressive when he needs to be, but he still gives you an opportunity to dodge, parry, and interact. And I'm a sucker for a boss that gives you an opportunity to act, not be stagnant. Like, do something. Don't just wait for me to attack. In fact, I won't even give you a chance to think. You just have to look at what's happening and make a move. This is exactly what Pompey, to me, especially the Deadly Assault version, gives me. He's always attacking. Right. He's always moving. He's very aggressive sometimes. But like I said, it's not every time. Periodic. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. We have Twin Marionettes. No. First things first. I think this is the only boss that has 2 enemies that you have to face at the same time. So, with that in mind, I feel like that's unique enough for me to not give it like a C or a D. So really right now it's fighting for either S tier, A tier, or B tier. Now, let's get to it. So, for this boss, I would say that it's a fairly forgiving boss. Right. It's a very straightforward boss. You just need to fight both of them. And they do have mechanics that I love. Like this section right here. So you have to kind of, actually dodge. So with that, there's already some dynamic range to it. And also gives you so many opportunities to parry, dodge, counter, and all that good stuff. So you can't really be complaining about movement here, saying that, oh, the boss feels so static. There's no challenge, there isn't any movement to it. Definitely ticking the right boxes there for me, right? And like I said, the more dynamic a boss is, the more fun it is for me. So this is definitely one of the fun bosses that I have. So currently, I'd say we're sticking to like an A-tier boss, right? Now, these ones, they don't really have like a mechanic per se that you have to beat in order to make them like easier or more like difficult if you miss whatever. But I think the main gimmick that makes them difficult by default is the fact that there's two of them. And depending on which one you're fighting, which version you're fighting, if you're fighting the Deadly Assault one, then you just need the concept of having two of them at the same time always is not there. You just have to face one and then periodically another one will appear. I mean, it gives you some points for even destroying one of the clones. That's cool. So it's really this one where you have to kind of worry about having two enemies at the same time on field always. And now, with that in mind, there's one thing that I kind of hate. Now, I feel like maybe it's just a me thing, maybe. But I always hated this, right? Because now it feels like it has to be an AoE situation. So I had a very difficult time when I was still starting the game and I didn't have that many characters with huge AoE damage, right? So it really made this one very annoying very quickly, because it was so difficult to bounce between one twin from the other whenever the other one is trying to heal, and then you're not doing enough damage, and then you have to kind of rinse and repeat this cycle over and over again, trying to align them to do so much damage to both of them at the same time so that you knock both of them out and eventually win, right? But I feel like maybe that was just a me thing, so I really want to try and not be biased in this and say that, cool, if you manage to deal with these enemies at the same time, then it really is a fun boss, right? It really is a fun boss, right? No complaints about it at all. So with that, I still feel like it's sitting at an A. Right. But let's move on. Next one is the Corruption Complex. I hate huge opponents, right? It's going to be a reoccurring thing that you guys will see. I hate enemies that are huge and don't move around that much. Like I keep saying, the more dynamic an enemy is, the more I'm leaning towards liking them. So with this one, there really isn't much movement to it, and it's so difficult to dodge some of the attacks because they drag on for way too long. Let's say you manage to dodge the drill, but since the attack for the drill takes so damn long, you basically have to dodge so many times that eventually you will get hit if you're not moving away from said object, because you can only be invulnerable for so long, right? But all things considered, I would say for being a stagnant boss, it does have a lot of attacks, right? And it does move around fairly, for a fair amount. It does move around very much, because it will, if you move away from it, it will try to close the distance. So it does make it more dynamic. Give it a second, you'll see. But did this man just die on me? Oh, he's entering second phase. Oh, cool. You'll see what I mean right now. So it's not like the boss doesn't move around. You see, He does. He definitely does. It's just that the attack animations last for way too long that sometimes you really can't dodge them. But other than that, there's a lot of variation in attacks. There isn't a lot of parrying you could do just because of how big the enemy is. I mean, it's not like it's completely not there, but it's not very everywhere. Like, it's not the main. If you're looking for parries, you definitely came to the wrong boss. Let me rather say that. I don't feel like it has enough things to make it an A tier. So I'm willing to give it like a solid B tier ranking. Let's move on to the next one. And we have Dead End Butcher. Do I not have a few words for this guy? Okay, so Dead End Butcher. Right. I think we've gotten so many versions of Dead End Butcher that I really can never consider all of them. I would say this boss is very active, very dynamic, very moving around. Like, sometimes it's not too easy to even catch your breath when he's on this form specifically. Right? But once he grows those second pair of arms, I feel like he still is aggressive, but now it's, I don't know. It's definitely still is aggressive, and he still gives you like chances to see his attacks and parry and dodge and all that fun stuff. So in terms of movement, like I said, amazing movement here, right? It's just the jumping around sometimes will really be annoying, and also the back-to-back attacks, right? That kind of push you back. So if we remove all of that, it's an amazing boss. It's a solid A for me. Like, gives you plenty of opportunities to like flex your skills. Like, if you're a person who wants to do a no-hit run, I feel like you definitely want to pass by Dead End Butcher at some point. Now, if you want to do like a no-hit run, definitely try Dead End Butcher. It'll be a nice way to test your skills. Full disclaimer, one of the best bosses in there. Full disclaimer. Right. Like, to me, Typhon is basically Miasma Priest, but on a more, I don't know, like, unpredictable manner. I know, like, once you get used to his patterns and all that, you get to see it, but it has a lot of parrying opportunities, and to me that makes it fun. I've never been bored whenever I'm fighting Typhon. Never in my life. I mean, well, before I had like a good team and understood how he works, I think I considered him one of the worst complicated enemies out there, because especially when you consider how aggressive he is. He just brings aggression to a whole nother level. But what I've noticed with ZZ enemies is that usually when they're aggressive, that means there'll be an opportunity somewhere for you to deal some damage or some fun mechanic behind it. He has this set pattern where he becomes super aggressive, and then he backs up, and then he gives you like 3 parries, and then if you execute all 3 perfectly, then you get a very decent window to do damage. And I think by now you guys should know I'm a sucker for like parries having mechanics and all that. So Typhon really takes a lot of good boxes for me. Like, this man is just out here giving you the time of your life. Oh, but you get what I'm saying. You definitely do get what I'm saying, right? You saw how aggressive he gets. That's like a telltale sign. And then he just jumps out of the arena, comes back, and then it's showtime again. He might not be on the same level as Miasma Priest in terms of the combos, aggressiveness, and all that. But in my books, he's amazing, completely amazing. So much so that I am willing to give him an S tier ranking for this one. Nothing else. Though like an A wouldn't do too much justice for him. Let's see. Now, next on the list we have Defiler. Defiler. I really can't say I've had a good experience writing her. Mainly just because of her gimmick. Rather, let me say the buffs that relate to whenever you have to fight her. So clearly, she wants like a double attack combination. It was mainly for Seed and Seed and Orphe. Yeah, I don't have neither of those characters, so my experience with her, but I will say my experience with her so far has not been bad. I was able to constantly clear her, but with the latest patch, for some reason I cannot for the life of me clear that. I don't even know what that item that she drops onto the field that you have to kind of destroy, and then it shields you from the shockwave wave, whatever is called. But I haven't been able to clear that recently, and it's been really annoying. But if I do have to be impartial about this, I would say that she is definitely a good boss nonetheless. She has a variety of mechanics. She flies out of bounds, and then you have to do like a parry in order to get her to get her down again. She has so many parryable attacks that it's so difficult for you to say that the boss fight feels static. There is so much going on. Sometimes it's a bit too much. You have random people coming in to shoot you. You have her calling like three or like 4 soldiers at a time to kind of push you with their shield, and then you just have to parry those, and then like this, there is so much to do. There is so many mechanics, so many parries, so many attacks that it really is. It would be shocking if someone told me that the boss fight felt very static. I'd be like, maybe your life is static. If you consider that. But then again, I don't think that's the nicest thing to say. So with that being said, I am happy to give her a solid A. Happy with that. I think she deserves that. But that's it. That's my full ranking for every boss in Zenless Zone Zero. Well, I want to hear from you. Drop your top 3 bosses in the comments, or tell me which one I got completely wrong. If you enjoyed this ranking, hit that like button and subscribe so that I know to do the same for agents or mini bosses next. And who knows, if this does well, I'll consider doing it for other things also. Like I said, agents or mini bosses. Thank you for watching.